Sean Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev will not be close. Currently, the odds for Sean Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev are about -400 for Khamzat and +300 for Sean Strickland, which implies that Khamzat has around an 80% chance of winning. But what if I were to tell you that I think this is still pretty low for Khamzat? For reference, Israel Adesanya was about a -650 favorite against Sean Strickland, and that was a striker versus striker matchup where, of course, anything could happen, and anything did happen. I think Khamzat wins this fight against Sean more like 90% of the time. Typically, I will make a video on how the underdog wins, but in this case, I simply don't think Sean Strickland has a chance. Alright, let's first talk about the wrestling, the elephant in the room. If anyone had a chance to even remotely match Khamzat's strength and wrestling and grappling in general, it would have been DDP. But everyone knows how that went. I know that MMA math doesn't always work out, but it is not good optics if the guy that pretty much got every takedown attempt on you got literally crucified by Khamzat Chimaev. Look, I know everyone is going to go, Sean stuffed all of Anthony Hernandez's takedowns, his takedown defense and wrestling has gotten better, blah, 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 blah. Which, yes, Sean's wrestling and takedown defense has improved vastly, and I'm sure he's going to go ham and cheese preparing for his wrestling, but the improvements in wrestling we saw in the Hernandez fight is so much more different than what we're going to see against Khamzat, and also the shots we saw from Strickland Is Absolutely F. Fluffy is very much a grind him out, eventually close the distance to find a clinch and trip. Sean was so good at defending that by having very good upper body strength and utilizing that strength to win the clinch battles with tight whizzers, digging underhooks, and even being able to turn around Fluffy because of that strength. I think where Sean struggles with in the grappling department is being able to react to explosive one-time shots. Strickland Is Absolutely F was able to take down Sean a lot in their fight by simply just blasting well-timed double legs. Back when Sean was at 170, Kamaru basically did the same thing and blasted this double on an already beat up Sean to secure the win. If Strickland Is Absolutely F and Kamaru did that to Sean, Khamzat did that to those guys, imagine what Khamzat's gonna do to Sean. Khamzat seriously might have some of the most explosive and dominant wrestling and shots specifically we've ever seen. This was still one of the craziest shots that I've seen in a fight, with Khamzat being so far from Robert Whittaker and still finishing the shot. And he was literally unstoppable when he fought Strickland Is Absolutely F. I just don't think Sean is going to be able to react to the explosions that are Khamzat's shots. Khamzat, I guarantee you, is going to go jumping out of the gate and shooting for a takedown. Khamzat just doesn't fight like he fought against Gilbert Burns. He's not going to trade with Sean. He's not going to make it a 50-50 fight if he doesn't have to. He's matured and recognized that no one in the UFC can stop his wrestling and his shots. So given that, he's not going to give Sean a sliver of hope, will not stay on the feet for all too long, and an explosive shot will come out and come out early. And if Strickland Is Absolutely F and Kamaru fights were an indicator of how Sean will react to those shots, it's going to be a nightmare for Sean. I will give Sean credit in that he was able to get up from pretty much all of these takedowns, but do you think he will be able to get up against Khamzat Chimaev, someone who kept a giant and very strong guy and pretty solid grappler himself in Strickland Is Absolutely F for 5 rounds down? Khamzat, on top of being an insane wrestler, is such a deadly submission threat. Give Khamzat shit all you want for not seeking a finish against Strickland Is Absolutely F, but for the most part, he hunts for submissions, and he's not afraid to hunt for the finish early. I really think that Strickland Is Absolutely F fight was a one-off. He really wanted to secure the belt, and he knew he could cruise to a guaranteed win and a guaranteed belt if he just kept keeping Strickland Is Absolutely F in a crucifix. But against Sean, I think we'll see classic Khamzat, a version of him that wants to prove a point to everyone, especially against a guy he's been going back and forth with online. I really think he's going to hunt for the finish and will be a constant submission threat. I really don't think Sean will be able to get up from this one, no matter how much wrestling prep he does or how many times he's gotten up in past fights. And when it comes to the striking, does Sean Strickland legitimately even have a puncher's chance? Sean Strickland's striking operates very well when he's throwing his strikes and really his straight punches at volume, and his opponents stay at the end of his punches. He kept Fluffy and Paulo out of range and took away their pressure by just having better volume and timing with his jabs and teeps. But with Khamzat definitely taking a wrestling approach, the windows that this fight is going to stay on the feet is going to be very small. Sean will have to KO Khamzat cold in the couple minutes or probably the couple seconds this fight stays standing. And do you think that Sean has that heavy-handedness to do so? So yeah, again, Sure, Sean knocked out Fluffy, but that was one, a knee that was timed to the body due to Fluffy's style of clinching and laying on his opponent, which, as we've covered, isn't Khamzat's fighting style or grappling style. Two, the eventual KO and finish was from a flurry of punches, not one giant sniper shot to take everything out. Think about all the times Sean has taken out someone with one punch. Yeah, the list is pretty empty. Sean Strickland can rock people though, and knock people out, don't get it twisted. He of course really rocked Izzy with one punch and dropped him. He tired out Abus Magomedov and eventually knocked him out. Steamrolled Brendan Allen on the cage to eventually rock and TKO him. But again, this is an accumulation of shots, which of course requires the fight to be on the feet long enough for Sean to get downhill and land a lot. Khamzat is not going to give Sean the time of day. Sean, if he is to knock out Khamzat, has to be somehow in one punch. Maybe he can learn a thing or two from heavyweight Alex Pereira about one-hit KOs, but realistically, I just don't think Sean is going to even have a puncher's chance in this fight given the pressure and mindset Khamzat is going to have here. Absolutely no breathing room, let alone room to strike. I truly think Sean is screwed either way. So is there a way, or even a world, that Sean Strickland can beat Khamzat Chimaev? Out of the billions of universes in the multiverse, I traveled each and every one, and Sean gets ragdolled in all of them. I just don't see it from any perspective outside of a freak injury, which God forbid either guy has here in this fight. The only, slight positive, if you can even call it that, is that Sean trained with Khamzat extensively, so he's familiar with the strength that Khamzat brings, and he's familiar with the wrestling and the nuances to Khamzat's wrestling game. He could at least slow down Khamzat knowing some of the moves and things to expect when it comes to the grappling. And that's the key to making a Khamzat fight even close. It's a guarantee that Khamzat's going to take down his opponent. He's literally unstoppable when he goes in for that first shot, but if you can make it expensive and taxing to grapple, then that's when Khamzat is open to striking to try to recover his cardio as well. Think about the two times a Khamzat fight was close, Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman. With the Gilbert fight, sure, Khamzat was able to take him down at will, but man, Gilbert was so tough to control on the ground given his elite jiu-jitsu and great bottom work. It was so good for Gilbert and so annoying for Khamzat that he just decided to go to war with Gilbert Burns, which led to a lot of success on the feet for Gilbert Burns. Same with the Kamaru fight. After Khamzat expended all his energy trying to submit Kamaru in the first and also may or may not have broken his hand here, he just slowed down on the grappling and got stuffed a couple times, leading to Kamaru having a very good third round and finding a lot of success on the feet. So yes, Sean is going to be taken down, but if he can make it very annoying on the ground for Khamzat to control him, or just make it very taxing for Khamzat to wrestle and take those shots in general, he will be forced to stand up and trade. But here's the thing, it works both ways. Because Khamzat and Sean have trained in the past, Khamzat might be familiar with Sean's game, and there might have been moments where he's completely dominated Sean Strickland in the wrestling and might be more comfortable going for early submissions, going and taking these weird shots knowing that he can finish those shots. It's going to be really hard for Sean, both grappling, both striking, and just throughout the whole fight. Even though the press conference is going to be really funny, I don't think this fight is going to be close. Anyways, what do you guys think about this fight? Does Sean Strickland even have a sliver of hope to try to make this fight competitive, let alone win the fight? I'm excited to see the press conference. This is a really stacked card in general, but I don't like Sean Strickland's chances here. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, always supporting. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.